Hello.
Hello.
Welcome. Welcome
Welcome
back
back.
or first time. One of these days
Mhm.
we'll figure out an intro to this.
I mean, I think it's more casual, just kind of like we bumped into you somewhere somehow, and now we're just gonna scare the fuck out of you.
We're just gonna tell you some stories. We're that
Yeah.
we're those weird chicks in the corner of a dark bar being like,
Mhm.
you wanna hear some scary stories?
Mhm. Exactly.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna start first. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
Vadi, by the way.
I'm
Hello.
Meeks. Hello.
Like I
See,
said, we're chicks in the corner of the bar.
we'll get there eventually. It's fine. But you are starting tonight, yes. And I believe from last week, because I know you talked about it a little bit, and I've been kind of thinking about it since you talked about it. You said you had a 4-part story, and you're going to read 2 parts today,
Yes.
right?
Yes. It's pretty
Yeah.
long, so I'm gonna cut it into two.
Okay.
So I'm going to be reading the first two parts of I'm a Cinema Usher. We Have Some Strange Rules. It's by Drunken Swordsman. I found him on the No Sleep Reddit. I will have all of his information in the show notes as usual, but make sure you go check him out. He's got quite a few series, some short stories that I was reading. They're good. They're good. He's a good writer.
All right.
So if you're ready,
I'm ready.
all right, cuddle in. Let's go.
All right.
I'm a Seminole. Immediately pronounce something wrong. Oh my gosh. I am a cinema usher. We have some strange rules. And this is the first and second part of the series. Next episode, I will be reading the third and final parts. All right. I've been working as a cinema usher for 3 years. By now, it's become obvious to me that my cinema rules are a bit out of the norm. Okay, that was a lie. They're batshit insane, but you can be the judge of that yourself. Just a little background before I start. My name's Sean. I'm 21 years old. I've been working this job for 3 years now. There's two reasons why I ended up here and why I didn't leave, even after I realized just how fucked up this place is. The first is that not many employers will hire a high school dropout with a criminal record for petty theft and drug possession. I made some bad decisions early in life, and even though I'm on the straight and narrow now, my life has been marked forever by those unfortunate choices. The second reason is the pay. A cinema usher's job is checking tickets, cleaning rooms between shows, and checking that every movie runs smoothly. Usually, ushers earn a minimum wage, if they're lucky. I, on the other hand, get the same pay as a manager of any normal joint. Although, when you take into account the stuff I have to deal with every day, it becomes a whole lot less alluring. But none of you really care about that, do you? You're here for the story, and I won't disappoint. So here they are, the rules of my cinema. Rule number one: never, ever open the door to room three once a movie has started. Sounds simple, right? This rule, in the time I almost broke it, were the first signs I got into the cinema wasn't 100% normal. Even knowing about room three, you'll be tempted to go in. The room is clever, and it'll try to trick you in any way it can. You might hear something from the inside. You might be addressed by someone wanting you to open it, but you should never, ever do so. The first time I almost entered room three was a mere week after I got hired. I had read the rules, sure, and I had been confused by them, but I didn't question them. I needed this job badly. If I had to endure some extravagant, mysterious rules to get my paycheck, then so be it. I was cleaning up the main lobby where the entrance to the individual projection room is when I heard it, the thumping of something on a hard surface. And it was coming from room three. I rushed over to the door. It was clear something was wrong inside. A thin curl of smoke was coming out from under it. The thumping was louder now, as if someone was hitting the door from the inside with their fists. The handle was turning, rattling in its joint, as the person on the other side tried desperately to get outside. Hello? I yelled, pressing my ear to the flat surface of the door. Let us out! Help us! Came a voice from the other side. It was a woman's voice, terror audible in every word. Underneath it, I could hear a faint whooshing sound, like a strong wind in a tunnel. It took me a second to realize what it was. Flames. There's a fire. The door's jammed. You have to let us out, the woman screamed desperately. The smoke coming from under the door was dark and acidic. I coughed as it caught my throat. The beating of fists on the other side resumed. Let us out, please. Let us out. I reached for the door handle. Any thought of the rules in my head was gone. There was people in there who needed my help. A hand reached out from behind me and grabbed my arm. I jumped in shock, twisting around. It was David, my manager. I'd only ever talked to him in my interview for the first time for the position, where he struck me as calm, but a distant man. Now he was furious, anger engraved on every line of his face. Rule number one: never forget it. There's a fire inside, David. The door's jammed. We need to get them a fire. Oh, it's clever today. David laughed to himself. Trying it out on the new guy, too. Then he turned serious again. There's a reason we have rules. Leave room 3 alone. Everything's all right in there. I could hardly believe what I was hearing. A woman from inside cried out again. She was choking on her words now as smoke invaded her lungs. Please help me, Sean. I can't breathe. Let us out. David laughed again. You can hear her, David. They're all gonna die, I yelled, incredulous as how he could be so heartless. Well, I wasn't gonna let people die because of him and his batshit crazy rules. I reached for the door handle. David looked me dead in the eyes. How does she know your name? I stopped short. Had I told her my name? No. I looked at the door again. No smoke, no hammering of fists. I cautiously knocked on it a few times. No one answered. David put a hand on my shoulder. You see, Sean, he said patiently, room 3 stays closed, no matter what. In 20 minutes, the movie will end and everyone will come out unharmed. I promise. But I heard her. I saw the smoke, I stammered, confusion taking over. You saw what it wanted you to see. Take it from me, Sean. Room 3 will try everything to get you to open that door. But it hasn't succeeded in 13 years, and it damn well won't succeed while I'm the manager here. I won't have that happen again. He led me away from the door gently. When the movie in room 3 ended 20 minutes later, a crowd of people walked out. Everyone was unharmed. I checked the rooms afterwards. There were no signs of a fire anywhere. Rule number 2. If you see a man dressed as a movie character leading children away from the lobby, notify the manager immediately. You know how a lot of cinemas hire people in costumes or suits to promote new movies? Like, new Star Wars movie comes out and you see guys in stormtrooper armor walking through the building to hype people up. Hated that sort of stuff even before I started working here. One of the odd jobs I took after dropping out of school was a seedy run down amusement park outside of town. I had to wear a rancid, unwashed fursuit of the park's mascot for 8 hours straight, 6 days a week. Even seeing one of those things nowadays makes me gag. Now, Rule 2 is a bit of a mystery. I've only ever had to follow it once, and I'm not sure what really happened. But it's an interesting, albeit gruesome story, so you might enjoy it. The day it happened was our premiere of Avengers Infinity War. The manager had hired several cosplayers dressed as main characters to walk around the lobby and take pictures with fans. Now, I was generally okay with that, despite my past experiences. The thing that made me nervous was how, before the shift began, David rounded up all the ushers and made us memorize the list of superheroes he had hired. He was absolutely adamant about it, insisting that we knew them off by heart. If it wasn't for the incident with room 3, I would have thought he was mad, but now I knew everything wasn't as seemed as in this place. It wasn't a long list, so I can still remember it. Captain America, Black Panther, Doctor Strange, Thor. Retrospectively, the poor guy dressed as the God of Thunder must have been devastated how fat his favorite character got in Endgame. I knew something was up when I exited one of the projection rooms and saw a person dressed as the one and only Iron Man, walking slowly down the lobby towards the garbage room. Getting closer, I could see there was something seriously wrong with him. His suit had been a high quality once, but it seemed to be in disrepair now. It was grimy and scraped, some parts of danger falling off altogether. He smelled horrible, like roadkill on a hot summer day. But the worst part was, there was some sort of liquid seeping from beneath the joints of his costume. It was sickening dark brown color, viscous, almost like drying treacle. My heart stopped as I saw behind him was a group of children. None of them could have been more than 13 years old. They stared vacantly forward, following the fetid figure as he led them away from the crowds in the demented column. My ordeal at room 3 had taught me all I needed to know about the rules. I rushed over to the manager's office, tore inside, and yelled into David's room. Rule 2, Iron Man costume, heading towards the garbage rooms. 3 kids in tow. There was a bang from the office as David leapt from his chair so fast it crashed to the ground. Shit, shit, shit. I should have known. I shouldn't have hired anyone. I should have fucking hired anyone. God damn it, I should have known. He was running. He was rummaging around in a drawer of his desk he had quickly unlocked. I caught a glimpse of what he was taking out before he hid it in the pocket of his trousers. A vial of some sort of clear liquid and long, jagged knife made of what looked like bronze. As he tore out of the office, he stopped and grabbed me, pushing a crumpled piece of paper into my hand. Make sure no one goes into that garbage room. Don't let anyone inside. You got that? If I don't come out in half an hour, hit the fire alarm and evacuate the building. Then call the number on this paper. There was no time for questions. David tore out of the room and I ran after him. As we rounded the corner, I saw that Iron Man had almost gotten the children to the garbage room. He was maybe 3 meters away from the door, the kids still following blindly. David tore past it and rammed open the door. Then, in one clean movement, he grabbed the costume thing, threw it inside, and slammed the door shut. The children twitched like puppets with their strings being jerked up and down. Then they looked around confused. They probably didn't even know how they got there. So they did what any kid would do in that situation. They started to cry. It was 23 minutes before David left the garbage room. There were dark red marks on his face. Clean shirt, and a horrible stench wafted off of him. He looked tired. Clean up in there, Sean. If you find anything strange outside in a garbage bag, don't touch it. Just come tell me. He stumbled off to his office. The garbage room was a wreck. The stinking dark liquid stained the floor, the walls, even the ceiling in some places. In the corner, there were several black plastic bags. A wet patch of noisome dark liquid was slowly spreading from underneath them. Rule number 3. If a man with a tattoo on the left side of his cheek wants something from the lost and found, don't give it to him. Now, this isn't exactly tied to a story I personally experienced, but I still have something to say about it. After the Rule 2 incident, David started treating me kinder. I guess he trusted me a bit more since he knew I had learned my lesson and understood the rules weren't there for benign reasons. They were there to protect us all. I was curious about Rule 3. After some time, I summoned the courage to ask about it. So, before one day's shift, I walked to the office and cautiously asked about it. David, sorry to bother you, but I was wondering if you could tell me more about Rule 3 by chance? David smiled wryly. Curious, are you? Don't worry, I would be too. He began rummaging around in his drawers and file folders. Eventually, he handed me several yellowed papers, stapled together in the corner. Here, read this when you're on your break. Hopefully, it'll sate your curiosity. When my break came, I sat down in our locker rooms and did exactly that. The papers were actually several newspaper articles stapled together. The first was 15 years old. Gruesome triple homicide. Family murdered in their own house. Sole survivor tells horrifying story. The neighborhood of censored was left in shock yesterday after police found a gruesome murder scene in the house of local residents, the Prescotts. Of the family of 4, there was only one survivor, 13-year-old censored Prescott, who was found bound and gagged but otherwise unharmed in his family's living room, next to the mutilated remains of his parents and older sister. Found on the crime scene was an umbrella which the survivor claims his mother had forgotten after visiting the family's visit to the local cinema earlier that week. Cinema manager David, censored, told our reporters that the umbrella had been picked up by a tattooed man the day before the murder, who claimed it was his. Police are looking into the possibility this man was connected to the crime, but so far their search has proved unsuccessful. The next 2 articles were 12 and 5 years old, respectively, published by different newspapers, but they told much the same story: mass homicide. One mentioned an item from our lost and found being found at the scene from a crime. The other didn't, but David had written under it in pencil. Same man. What does the tattoo mean? Need to make a rule about him. The last article was what really creeped me out, though. It wasn't modern. In fact, it was just a printed photo of an ancient-looking page. Ancient-looking page. The year printed at the top announced it from London, 1899. The writing was hardly legible, but the headline told me all I needed to know. Fear the stage. London theater shuts down amid murder spree as mysterious killer claims forgotten items. And going into part 2 now. My name is Sean. I've been a cinema usher for 3 years now. My cinema has rules you never ever break, no matter how strange or downright insane they sound. If you're confused, you should probably start at the beginning. Some rules are harder to follow than others, and some come up more often. Rule 4 is one of the rarer ones, and I thank God for that. Rule number 4: if the lights go out when you're cleaning a room, take a seat. A movie will play. You have to watch till the end. Don't look away from the screen, no matter what you see or hear. This is the rule that gave me the most anxiety when I read it. Having already run in with rules 1 and 2, I knew just how serious following our commandments, or failing to do so, could be. My experience with rule number 4 happened when I was cleaning room 1 after a movie. Without warning, it happened. The thing I'd been dreading for months at that point. The lights went out. There wasn't a pop like a light bulb going off. 1 second, I was in the well lit room. The next, I was standing in pitch blackness. I froze. Even though I'd mentally prepared myself for this for weeks, I froze. Take a seat, damn you. Take a seat. Finally, my limbs obeyed my mind. I leapt for what I hoped was the nearest row was and rammed myself down into place. Just in time. The screen lit up, filling with static before resolving into the image of the dark, dank cellar. The image quality was ancient, like some super 8mm film from the 90s. Through the grainy screen, I could make out there was a single chair in the center of the room. Tied to it was a young man. He was struggling against his bonds, and I could tell he was injured. Narrow streams of blood streamed down his face from the injury above his brow. His arms were rubbed raw from the ropes. There was something terribly familiar about the prisoner. Not his face. I'd never seen him in my life, but his clothes. I froze as I heard something behind me. It was the creak of a cinema chair. My back crawled. Someone, something, had just sat down behind me. It took all my willpower not to swivel around or to jump from my seat and make a break for the entrance. I fixed my eyes on the screen, praying for this to be over soon. The man on the screen had stopped struggling. He was looking at something behind the camera. It took me a second to realize he had been watching the cameraman. I almost jumped from my seat as a voice whispered behind me. What an actor, huh? The voice was low, practically an inaudible whisper. It sounded human, almost, but I knew immediately it was anything but. I can't explain precisely how. It was something about the cadence of the thing's speech, almost as if his throat wasn't quite made for human language, and it just did its best at mimicking what it heard. Even worse, the voice was coming from slightly above me, not directly behind. Whatever was in the chair behind me, it had to be absolutely massive when standing up. Should I answer? Should I keep watching? The rules hadn't told me about that. I remained silent, gripping the armrest to stop myself from shaking, eyes fixed toward the screen. The camera was moving as the person carrying it approached the prisoner. The man in the chair was trying desperately to recoil, but his binds were too tight for anything but the slightest movement. And as the camera got closer, I recognized what was so horribly familiar about him: his clothes. He was wearing the cinema uniform. My cinema's uniform. Where do you think they got the costumes? Whispered the thing sitting behind me. Sadistic irony dripped from every word. It was playing with me. I didn't answer. The movie went on for about half an hour. I won't tell you exactly what I saw. I don't want to think about it any more than I have to. I'm not sure the stuff would be allowed on this site, not even in description. Suffice to say, I wouldn't wish such a fate upon my worst enemy. At one point, I retched and vomited over myself on the floor as my stomach convulsed. I almost took my eyes off the screen, and at that moment, I felt the thing's hot, stinking breath on my back. It wanted me to look away. It wanted me to give in. I looked up, again fixing my eyes on the gruesome scene playing on the screen. The thing behind me spoke only once more before the lights came on abruptly as they turned off. It sounded infuriated, frustrated, angry even. You know the saying, Sean, rules are made to be broken. Or at least that guy thought so. I wish I could end the stories there, but unfortunately, there's just a bit more to it. Because the guy had been on the screen, had been a worker here. Because he had died for breaking a rule. Because David hadn't told us everything. instead keeping us on some sort of bullshit need to know basis. Someone had suffered a fate worse than death because of his secrecy, and I would have him explain himself. Still covered in my own sick and cold sweat, I stormed through the lobby, ignoring the disgusted look of the customers there. I slammed into the office. David looked up calmly. Rule number 4 or number 11? Rule number 4. Good. Good? Good? You knew what the risk was. You knew what could happen, but you didn't tell anyone. That guy I saw, the things that it did to him, you could have stopped that. David, slightly tired. It's better this way, Sean. What? How can it? Let me explain something to you, David said, getting up, standing eye to eye with me. There was a hint of steel in his voice now, and a flash of suppressed anger in his look. I shut up. Some things can be avoided if you know about them. Rule number 3 is like that. If you know what it wants and how it will try to get it, it's easier not to fall for it. But some things, Sean, some things only get stronger the more you know about them. You can avoid breaking rule number 4 with what you know right now. You just need to keep watching. But the more you know about it, the more direct the thing in that room can be in its attempt to get you to look away. And the last guy, the one I saw on the screen, he knew too much, even more than you do now. It was a mistake I will never repeat, and a lesson I will never forget. There's a threshold, Sean, that I can't allow anyone to cross. If you know too much, no amount of willpower or strength will keep your eyes from that screen. Rule number 5. If you encounter a room where all the customers are looking directly at you and smiling, inform the manager immediately. Rule number 5 is one which raised the most questions in my mind about this cinema and my work. My encounter with it occurred about a year and a half into my time here. Something you should know about the work of a cinema usher. We need to check that every movie is running smoothly, with working subtitles and so on. We are only obliged to do so at the beginning of each projection, but if we have some free time during our shift, we'd like to check it at random to make sure everything is all right. Unfortunately, it's exactly because of this I entered room 5 one day, only to almost have a heart attack as I realized that every single person inside was looking me dead in the eye and smiling eerily. Taking care not to even blink, I slowly backed out of the room. The customers never broke eye contact, not even to blink. The second I was in relative safety of the lobby, I ran to David, who was talking to the customer over a small bar. Rule number 5, I said once I reached him. David went pale. The customer, a young, attractive woman, looked over at him in confusion. Excuse me, David muttered in direction before turning to me. Which room? 5. Follow me. We ran to the room. Once inside, David gestured for me to remain at the bottom of the rows of seats. Stay here. You need to tell me twice. The room full of customers was deadly quiet. Every head slightly turned to follow David as he walked to the front of the screen and stopped in the middle of the room. What do you want? He said to the room at large. Every person in the room opened their mouth in unison and said, in perfect chorus, Hello, manager. Long time. Cut the crap, growled David. I know your game. What do you want this time? The room laughed in chilling synchrony. Always so direct. I liked you. More than your predecessor, you know. David's jaw clenched. His hands were rolled into fists. I've never seen him so angry. Just tell me what you want, he hissed through his teeth. Tell me what you want, and then let these people go. So impatient, so eager to get it over with, the crowd answered. I want you to open room 3 right now. David went pale. No, ask something else. There are lines I will not cross. There are rules. The things behind the eyes of the crowd laughed as one. Yes, your precious rules. You think they can stop anything? They stop nothing, David. They only delay it. Giving me information for free, David said sarcastically. You changed since we last talked. I'll only tell you what you already know, and my price does not change. You will open room 3. Again. For the first time, David hesitated, only for a second, but the things noticed and laughed cruelly at him. I've already told you I won't do it. That rule is never broken, he said finally. Do you forget your history of a mere 13 years? The crowd sneered. The fate of those people is in your hands, David. You know what happens to them when my price is not paid. Do you seek to atone with this meaningless resistance for the sacrifice that was made because of your mistake? Don't atone, David hissed. I made no mistake. Would the one you miss so dearly agree? I think not, the things intoned. There was a charged silence. Then the crowd spoke again. The price isn't paid. These people are safe. David blinked in confusion. What price? Room 3 was never the price. The anguish of your remembrance, as well as the unanswered questions that will now plague this servant of yours, were the price. Fucking bastard, David whispered. You fucking. Till next time we meet, manager. David stormed out of the room without another word. The crowd followed him with their gaze, and then fixed upon me. A smile, a nod. Then the crowd looked up as one, and shed their identical behavior. A hidden tension was released. They were free. Rule number 6. If a customer hears noises in the air ducts, assure them you will look into it. Take one of the packages marked R6 from behind the bar, enter the air ducts through the garbage room, and place the contents of the package at least 10 meters away from the entrance. Leave the air ducts as fast as possible. This is one of the easiest rules to follow, although time limit is worrying at first. It's also one of the most commonly employed, usually coming up about once a week. Thankfully, I've never seen anyone fail to uphold it. The first time I had to feed the thing in the air ducts was a very busy shift. We had premiered The Rise of Skywalker a few days before, and we were still being swamped by crowds of customers. I was cleaning up the lobby from ever present spilled popcorn when an angry looking young man wearing a Star Wars shirt stormed over me. Good day, sir. How can I. I began. Yeah, man, whatever. He cut me off immediately. Could you fix your damn aircon, dude? There's something banging around in there near the grill in our room. I didn't pay for this kind of shit. I clenched my teeth, controlled my temper at the man's manners, but managed to remain calm. Yes, sir, of course. Sorry for the inconvenience. David will probably forgive you for letting a room full of people die at the hand of God knows what, but he will not allow you to be rude to customers. He's just like that. After the customer stalked off again, I got one of the marked packages from behind the bar. It was strangely heavy, and I could feel moisture seeping out from inside it. Doing my best to ignore it, I crossed over to the garbage room, opened the grill covering in the air ducts. I could hear whatever the customer had complained about, a fast tip-tap sound, like fingernails drumming endlessly against the inside of the duct. My skin crawled. It was uncomfortably too close to the sound of a dozen of long, thin legs. I took a deep breath and crawled into the chute. The air inside was cold and draughty. The passage was tight, and I was forced to go prone, propelling myself forward on my elbows and knees. Crawling forward, I could see by the dim light there was a pile of something up ahead, around the 10-meter mark. As I reached it, I groaned under my breath. In the chute before me lay a pile of gnawed animal bones. With shaking fingers, I did the unwrapping of my package and dropped the whole chicken into the top of the pile of the remains. The sounds in the chute stopped. I held my breath. Then I returned faster. Tip tap, tip tap, tip tap, louder than before, a frantic, hungry staccato rhythm. Terror and adrenaline fueled my brain. I scooted back downwards to the mouth of the passage. How long have I been on there? How long did I have left? 30 seconds? 20? The clattering of legs was mixed now with a scraping sound, as something chitinous and heavy dragged itself down the corridor toward the food. And towards me. And finally, my legs met the end of the duct. Kicking frantically, I dropped down to the floor of the garbage room, slammed the grill shut. The clattering inside had stopped. Listening carefully, I could make out the sound of tearing flesh. And this is one of the easiest rules. And you will have to turn in for part 3 and 4.
Oh my god. I never want to go to a movie theater ever again. What do you mean that's the easiest rule?
It's the easiest
You have
rule.
to feed the thing living in the vents? Oh, that is. This is creepy. I like it. I love it. Oh, it's
He,
creepy though.
yeah, Drunken Swordman does a lot of stories like that. Like, oh,
Yeah.
I like some of his other ones where I'm the highest paid janitor, and this is why. It's like a. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll definitely
It's
have to
you never
read
know
more of
what's
his
gonna
stuff.
happen.
Yeah, I definitely have to read more of his stuff. He's a very good writer.
Huh.
But yeah, I don't like all the people staring at you and smiling at once.
I know, but, like, the trickery of whatever was behind it was kind of, like, impressive to me at least, like, the deception of it being like, "Oh, no, that's not what I wanted. I just wanted you to suffer."
Yep.
Like, "I just wanna
Something.
fuck things up for you and inconvenience you."
Yep.
That's just malicious.
Hmm.
Oh
Yeah.
my
The next part
goodness.
gets into a little bit more of like the background of like the manager and
Mhm.
everything. So,
Yeah, no, I really wanna know, especially after, you know, what just happened. I wanna know what happened with room 3.
well, you're gonna have to wait now.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, like I said, that was Drunken Swordman. So you can find him on Reddit. We will have all of his information in the show notes. Definitely check him out though. He's got some really good work.
Oh, yeah, for sure. He's definitely really, really good read, really good listen. Okay, my turn?
I think so.
All right. So this one, I didn't realize it initially. I guess I don't know what it is. I get so sleepy, but this is a part one, so it is a series. So hopefully I will be bringing part two next time. But this is from, I believe you read a story from him last week, Zeldry, aka Pentyworth223
Oh,
on
yes.
Reddit.
Yes, he's a very
Yeah.
good writer.
And I found this one not on the No Sleep Reddit. I actually found this one on the Mr. Creeps. Um, and it's really interesting on there. And so that's kind of where I found him.
Mm-hmm.
And this one is I'm a hospital night shift maintenance tech. Don't ever open a door that says service. And it's part one.
All right. I'm
Yeah.
ready.
Alrighty. I don't even know if anyone's ever going to read this. I'm just dumping it into notes because it's the only app that still opens right now. And the battery icon's been stuck at 18% for, I don't know, a while. Long enough that I'm starting to hate that number. The time in the corner says 2:17 a.m. and hasn't moved. If this ever pops up on somebody's screen and it just reads like some guy's falling apart, that's, yeah, that's probably accurate. I'm not going to pretend I've got this under control, but if you're the kind of person who wanders into stairwells with no signage just to see where they go, I need you to read this all the way through. And then I need you not to be that person. I work nights in building maintenance at St. Albans Medical Center in Phoenix. Technically, my badge says Building Systems Technician too, which sounds like I should have a lab coat, but in reality, I still plunge toilets and unjam automatic doors. St. Albans is one of those hospitals you drive past on 7th Street near the 202 and don't really notice. Beige concrete, mirrored windows, sad little shrubs that die every summer and get replaced every winter. I'm a 34, wait, no, I had a birthday in June, 35. My brain keeps defaulting to 34, like it's trying to save me 1 year on the wear and tear. Night shift is usually quiet. A couple nurses, one ER doc, a sleepy security guard. The building settles into this consistent background noise. HVAC, ice machines, telemetry alarms, wheels on linoleum. It all turns into one low hum. You don't notice until it stops. The night this started, I was covering for Kyle, who called out sick, but I'd bet a week's pay it was because the Coyotes had a late game. Midnight to 8, I grabbed a cup of coffee from the cafeteria before they shut down at 11. It already tasted like the pot was on its second day. Around 1, my radio crackled. Facilities, this is admitting, Rojas said. We've got a flickering light in the old admin corridor. It's giving Miss Harvey a migraine. Copy, I said. I'll head up. The old admin corridor is the forgotten wing on 3 that used to have HR and billing before they moved everything downstairs and half online. Now it's dusty records, empty offices, and people who don't want to be found. I grab a ladder, a spare 2x4 LED troffer, my tool bag, logged it, took the service elevator up. The doors opened onto a dim hallway, motion sensor lights clicking up as I walked. Hoodie, scuffed boots, badge with curling "Happy 35" post-it. The bad light was easy to spot. One panel twitching, bright, dim, off, like it couldn't pick a setting. I set the ladder up, climbed, and popped the diffuser. The plenum above should have been a throat full of sound. Air handlers, duct noise, it was still. Cooler, too. Just enough to raise the hair on my arm. The LED panel looked fine. Wiring solid, no heat marks. The sticker on the back, though, Lithonia lighting 2G7, 2x4 tropper, 4,000 watts. We used two GT8s. I've written that model number so many times my hand could do it alone. Sure, I mutter. Typos all the way up the chain. I give a tired little laugh. Then everything turned off. Not just the light, the building. HVAC roar, ICU beeps, distant traffic, gone. My ears rang in the vacuum. The panel flared once and died. The corridor dropped into solid black so fast my stomach lurched. I grabbed the ladder. My flashlight on my belt. I fumbled it out and clicked it on. The old admin corridor was still there. Sort of. Same beige walls, same brown handrail, same desert print with community under it, but the hallway was longer, stretched. More doors than there should have been, like someone copy pasted a few extra. The far end sat too far away. What the hell? I said, hearing my voice helped. I climbed down, my boots hit the carpet with no sound. That, more than anything, made my skin crawl. I turned to where the elevator lobby should have been. Gone. 15 feet away, a beige wall with a red exit door and a glowing green sign. I turned the other way. Same thing. Red exit door, no elevators, no stairwell. Just two outs that hadn't existed a minute before. I walked to the nearest door. Through the wired glass, I saw another hallway. Same carpet, same doors, fluorescence buzzing. Breaker tripped, I told myself. We rerouted, old prints, whatever. I hit the bar. The door swung open. When it shut behind me, it sounded thin, like a fridge door. I turned immediately to wedge it open. Drywall. No door, no exit sign. Just a blank wall and an empty extinguisher cabinet. Nope, I said. Nope, nope, nope. The hallway could have been any back of house corridor, low pile carpet, handrails, metal doors. 317, 319, 321. The number plates leaned a little, like whatever stuck them on did it fast. I tried a handle, locked. Another, locked. The wall clocks were the same cheap black-rimmed model we used, but all of them showed 222. Second hands frozen. My phone still said 217. I hit a T-junction with an overhead sign. Left, 300 to 312. Right, also 300 to 312. I picked left. The smell shifted to faint chlorine, like a drained indoor pool. My footsteps made zero sound. I stomped once, the silence stayed. Hello? I called. My voice echoed back a half second late, slightly off pitch, like somebody was playing me back on bad speakers. I kept moving. The vending machine looked almost normal. Machine, round table, 3 stackable chairs, bulletin board with a flyer. Safety meeting Wednesday, 2 p.m. Mandatory, no date filled in. Behind the glass, chips, candy, soda. At first glance, then the differences. Doritos is Doritos, Snickers, Snicker. Diet Coke, get this, Cola Light. The Lay's logo with Lay's under it. The keypad was a single row of 0 to 9 instead of a grid. The bill slot was just featureless black. The lower panel hung open. Inside, the metal spirals were braided through each other in impossible loops. On the floor, 6 candy bars in a perfect circle. Wrappers peeled back. The chocolate was scored with straight, intersecting lines like a sample wiring diagram. I stepped back without realizing it until the table bumped my legs. My phone buzzed. I jumped hard enough to drop the flashlight. It hit the floor silently. Banner. Low battery, 20%. It had been at 60% when I left the shop. I know it had. Time, 2:17 a.m. Okay, I said. No, you're wrong. The machine's hum cut out. The lights above dimmed a notch. From farther down the hall, I heard a slow drag. Thick fabric on tile, something heavy pulling itself. My mouth went desert dry. I snatched up the flashlight, flicked it off, then flicked it on again by reflex. The beam swung down the corridor. At the edge of the light, something passed across the hall. Not a body, an absence. Light darkened where it moved, dimming with fluorescence behind it. It slid sideways, smoothly, then vanished around a corner, like a shadow jumping with no person to cast it. I turned the flashlight off without thinking. Some old lizard bit of my brain shrieked that light made me too visible. The hum crept back. I didn't go see what it was. I walked the other way. The corridors kept changing. I passed through an unmarked doorway, and carpet became mottled linoleum. Windows turned glossy white. Older square fixtures buzzed overhead. Safety posters popped up. Work smart, wash your hands, our customers, our family, with faces that blurred if I looked too long. A stretch where every door was closet 1, closet 3, closet 5, all locked. Around the 15th corner, I tried marking my path. I slid a torn piece of paper under a door, tied a strip of my blue lanyard around another handle. 3 lefts and a right later, I came to a door with the same lanyard tied on, same knot, same frayed ends. 4 faint streaks dragged in the paint beside it, ending in neat half-moon erasures. I left the lanyard. Moving it felt like messing with someone else's job. Eventually, the hallway blew open into that fake airport, ceiling lost in shadow, big square tiles under me in a pattern that almost looked like a city map. Endless rows of 4-seat clusters, vinyl too clean, bolted to the floor. Gate signs, A1, A3, A5, then B, then AA, AB, AC. Farther letters smeared, big gray screens overhead glowed blank. Way across, a wall of glass. Outside, I said, has to be. I walked toward it. It never got closer. No matter how many steps I took, the glass stayed the same distance away. Gate C7 and C8 passed me for the second, third time. My legs shook. I dropped into a chair. The vinyl didn't squeak. Beyond the glass, the world was more of the same. Gates, chairs, another glass wall, like mirrors misaligned. Then something huge moved across that repetition. Not a plane, a bulk, a negative space sliding across the concourse beyond. Wherever it went, the gray outside darkened, washed out, then darkened again. The glass vibrated in my spine. The blank screens glitched for a second. A line of green pixels tried to spell something. G-A-T, maybe? But scrambled. I had to remind myself to breathe. The thing kept going. No edges, no limbs, then gone. I stood up and walked away from the glass. The restroom was a trap, but not the way you think. Restroom sign with arrows both ways. I picked one, beige, corridor, heavy door, stick figure with arms bent too high. Inside, tile stalls, sinks, mirror, perfectly clean, no trash, no graffiti. Seeing myself in the mirror almost felt like waking up. Same tired eyes, same hoodie, same crooked badge. Then I saw the silhouettes behind me. 3 tall, thin shapes at the far end of the room, and the reflection only. Darker than the rest. No faces, arms hanging too low. I didn't turn around. I just didn't. Some part of me equated turning around with stepping off a roof. I stared at the mirror and pressed the faucet. Water arched out, clear, real. And the reflection hit the sink and vanished. No splash, no ripple, just there, then gone. The silhouettes didn't move. I stepped back. In the mirror, they were closer. One stood right behind my reflection, close enough it could have rested its chin on my shoulder if it had a chin. Okay, I whispered. I stepped forward again. My reflection followed, then stayed. Up close, the nearest one wasn't smooth, it was textured, like the side of a building at night. Behind the black, I saw hints of bricks, fence, seams, and the chest a tiny, glowing exit sign pulsed backwards. T-I-X-E in the glass. Inside the curve of its shoulder, where bone should have been, a miniature hallway ran. Carpet, doors, tiny exit signs. Wrong angle to be a reflection of anything behind me. All the faucets along the sinks were running now, perfect arcs, no sound. I turned. Empty bathroom, stalls closed, no silhouettes. The far stall door creaked open. The sound came in torn pieces, squeals and thump, then hinge noise, all out of order. That broke me. I bolted. The door smacked the stopper with a sound my brain refused to process. My shoulder clipped the frame, impact muffled like padding. Outside, the concourse was gone, just another low beige hallway. I didn't look back. I found a stairwell next. Clean green stair sign. The door painted a slightly different beige. It smelled like every hospital stairwell I've ever trudged. Down one flight, landing, big white 3. Down another, 2. Good, I said. Basement next. Down again, 3. That's not funny. Back up, 4. I went up and down, watching the numbers 3, 2, 3, 4, 2. Different stencil styles, like different people painted them at different times. My heart tried to crawl out of my throat. I started laughing. High and wrong, that sort of sound you hear, you make yourself make and instantly hate. Fine, I said. You win. I bailed. On the other side of the door, the hall was different. The sign now said storage. I left the stairs alone after that. Other spaces blurred together, a cafeteria with perfect fake food, fork prongs fused together, a parking level marked P2 where concrete bent under my foot. The ceiling was black glass full of shifting floor plans. Everywhere I went, I started seeing my own reflection of life leaking through. The strip of blue lanyard I'd tied to a door showed on upstairs. A weird ladder scuff from 3 West reappeared on a wall I'd never seen. A flyer that used to be blank suddenly had a date written in my handwriting. October 12th. I don't remember writing it. My reflection degraded, whites of my eyes going gray, irises losing color. A half-second lag between me and mirror me. Background sharp, me fuzzy. My footsteps stayed silent. Clapping sounded like it was happening one floor down. I don't think there's a big moment where something eats you. You just slowly get edited into the background. The more I saw of the tall things, the residents, the more they felt like coworkers. I watched one fix a hallway, its arm a cluster of flat pads pressed to the wall, the surface folded, doors sliding, signs moving, scuffs vanishing. It shifted its hand, the exit sign jumped sides. It rotated around an axis that shouldn't exist, and for a second I saw tiny stairwells and waiting rooms inside its chest. Then it was gone, and a red exit door glowed where it had been. It looked exactly like one outside our mechanical rooms. Same chipped bar, same hinge patina, some scuff in the corner. Through the glass, St. Albans basement, gray tile, bulletin board with the old Iron Man sponsorship flyer Sanchez loves to brag about. Warm air rolled through the gap. If this is real, I told it, you'll have to be the squeaky tile under the second sprinkler head. I hit the bar. The tile on the other side flexed and gave that exact squeaky wheel feel through my bones. I laughed sharp and ugly. Okay, maybe. I stepped through. The door shut behind me. When I spun around, it was just cinder block and paint, bulletin board, flyer, blank date, no door, no exit. The boiler roar was gone. The air went flat again. I slid down the wall and eventually pulled my phone. 2:17 a.m. Battery 18%. Wi-Fi gasping at a bar. Then nothing. I opened notes. I've walked until my legs ache, sat until my head swims, walked again. Time means nothing. My phone insists it's still 2:17. The lobby I am now in has walls covered in black and white photos. Empty streets, overpasses, stairwells, loading docks. No people, no cars. And every photo, somewhere, a door. I've been playing a messed up Where's Waldo with them while I type. One is the old admin corridor. I can see the community print and the dent in the baseboard where Kyle dropped a tank and pretended he didn't. I'm 90% sure it's the same dent, anyways. In the picture, the service door at the end is closed. There's a tall, narrow shadow behind the wired glass. The photo next to it is a stairwell loading with a painted 3. My shadow is there, mid-step, blurred, 1 foot off the ground. I don't remember anyone taking it. My battery icon hasn't moved, still 18%. Time still 2:17. The Wi-Fi symbol keeps flashing like it wants to show me something, then gives up. Something's moving in the corridor outside. That same drag of heavy fabric, that deeper groans, like metal under stress. The photo nearest the corner vibrate in their frames. I don't think the residents are hunting me. They're just doing whatever their version of a job is. Punching a clock somewhere I can't see. I'm the glitch. Feels like everything gets dumped on maintenance eventually, one way or another. Floors, walls, systems, people. We're the catch all folder. If this note somehow leaks out, if whatever passes for network traffic in here spills into yours, maybe it'll help someone. If you work nights, if you've ever been last out of a building, if you've ever walked down a back hallway and thought it felt a little too long or the air was too still, listen. When you see a door you've never seen before in a hallway you know by heart, don't open it just to see. When an exit sign points both ways to the same room numbers, turn around. Go toward noise. If you walk down a corridor and your footsteps don't make any sound at all, don't be a hero and take another step just to see. Look for your mess. The ladder scuff you made last winter, the coffee stain nobody cleaned, the burned out bulb you keep meaning to replace. If they're not there, if everything looks freshly installed and wrong, back up until the world looks worn again. If you find a vending machine where all the brand names are off by one letter, just keep walking. You don't need a bag of dough riots that badly. I promise. If you walk into a bathroom and every faucet's already running and the water doesn't move when it hits the sink, get out. Don't check the mirror. Seriously, just don't. And if you ever see a tall, thin shadow at the end of a hallway that your eyes keep sliding off like a blind spot, don't call out for it to help because it might hear you. And it might try to help in the only way it knows how, by making room. The air in this lobby is thicker now. The ceilings climbed higher and the corners are lost in shadow. Some of the photos have changed. One empty street now has a St. Albans sign way in the background. The hum of the walls is getting deeper. Less HVAC, more construction, like cranes and concrete shifting somewhere just behind the drywall. I know a little more now than when I first panicked at that exit door. Enough to maybe nudge things for whoever ignores all this and stumbles in anyway. A hallway that doesn't fold under your feet, an exit sign that actually points somewhere better. I'll be the one, something, walls you never see. Pressing too many fingers into the paint and sliding doors a few inches this way or that. Until then, do me a favor. Stay in the loud parts of the world. Doors slamming, carts squeaking, somebody complaining that coffee tastes like mud. That's the good stuff. That means you're still in the real layers. And if admitting calls you at 1 a.m. about flickering light in a wing nobody uses anymore, grab a ladder if you have to. Just do me one favor and leave the door that says service alone. Let the headache light flicker. You can live with that. The end. Well, until part two.
It's very liminal.
I know. I,
Like,
I feel like that's kind of what drew me in was like I just really didn't know what was going to happen next.
mm-hmm,
But like I was viscerally picturing what was happening in the
mm-hmm.
moment. And I like that a lot. I think I like this writer in general because I really liked the one you did last week as well.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oof. I would 100% end up in there.
Yeah.
Like, oh, random door I've never seen before. Let me check it out.
Let me go see where this
I
leads.
want to know. I'm too curious for my own
I
good.
think I think like the whole like him seeing like the big figures and then him being like, "Oh, now I think of them as coworkers" is like a little bit of foreshadowing, but like
Mm-hmm.
it's still really creepy. Like is he inside one of them? Like is he
Yeah. So
seeing
were they like building around him? Is that what it was?
yeah, like make like
Okay.
if you ask for help, like they make room. I think that's what they were doing was building around him.
Oh God.
Oh, that's so creepy though. I can't
I
wait for the next part.
I already get lost enough as it is. I don't need to be put in
Mhm.
liminal space.
I know. Oh my god, that reminds me of like domain expansion, but the worst kind. Like that's not the one I want to be in. That's not the fight for me.
I already get lost in like hospitals and stuff. I don't need all that on
Yeah.
top of it. I was like so confused at first
Mm.
because you're like, oh, it's a hospital, and then all of a sudden he was like in an airport, and I was like, what?
I know, because he's like, like he's just traveling through space and time at this point. Like, shit, everything's
Hmm.
wrong.
Yeah, it was
But
really weird, and
it's creepy. I definitely think it's creepy.
for sure, yeah, liminal space is weird like that.
Mm-hmm.
Especially like I said, the airport part reminded me very like backroomsy type of thing.
Yeah, especially like the one part where it's like, and then everything is like mirrors misaligned afterwards. Like when you look out into like where the world should be, and all you see is just like endless reflections of what you're in is just horrifying.
Hmm. I don't know why, but like the mirror being a little off.
Hmm.
I could really go some for what were they Doritos?
Oh
They
yeah,
sound they sound
the
pretty good.
Ritos,
I could go for some
Doritos,
of
the
those.
riots. Oh, it's
The
D
the
O R
riot.
I. Yeah, it's DORIOTS. The
I love
riots.
it. Sounds like a good time. All right, I think that's going to be it for us for this episode.
Yes.
If you are listening on YouTube, please remember, if you would, to like, comment, subscribe.
Hmm.
If you're listening on Spotify, you can comment on there as well. But
Yes,
yeah,
yes, yes. Let us know your thoughts, opinions, if you liked, disliked. And as
tell us
always,
what you think.
yeah, if you have a submission you'd like us to read, you can find our email in the show notes. Just, send us a quick email, let us know. And then if you have any kind of, Patreon, YouTube you want us to shout out, go ahead and tag that as well. So we know how to let people know where to find you.
Sounds good. All
Yeah.
right. I think that's going to be it until next
Hmm.
time. All
I believe
right.
so. All right.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.